Some films light a spark. This one nearly burned Hollywood to the ground, in more ways than one. Fact 1. The towering Inferno was the result of a rare collaboration between two rival studios, 20th Century Fox and Warner Brothers. At the time, both companies had separately acquired rights to competing novels. Warner had The Tower, and Fox owned The Glass Inferno. Rather than split the box office and risk two similar films releasing simultaneously, the studios did something unheard of. They decided to join forces and co-produce a single movie. This was the first major joint venture of its kind in Hollywood history. The agreement set the stage for a mega-production with an unprecedented budget. It totaled $14 million, enormous for 1974. The gamble paid off massively. The film became the highest-grossing movie of the year. It raked in over $116 million worldwide. The decision to merge the projects not only avoided a costly clash, it also set a precedent for future collaborations between competing studios. The film's title blended the names of both original books. Inferno came from Fox's property, while Tower came from Warner's. The script was a mix of both storylines. Each studio got to cast some of its top stars. Fox brought Paul Newman, Warner brought Steve McQueen. The joint effort resulted in a film that critics and audiences loved. And behind the scenes, it rewrote the rules of cinematic rivalry. Fact 2.
What about that? It should have been Conduit.
The Towering Inferno wasn't just a gripping disaster film, it sparked real-world change in architecture and safety codes. The fictional Glass Tower, stretching 138 stories into the sky, was inspired by the rapid race to build ever-taller skyscrapers in the 1970s. Its towering presence ignited public curiosity and concern about the risks of vertical living. Architects and fire safety engineers watched the film and realized how ill-prepared many modern high-rises actually were. After the movie's release, cities like New York, Chicago, and Los Angeles reviewed their building safety regulations. The film showed just how fast fire can travel through a structure when cost-cutting and poor design intersect. From inadequate sprinklers to locked stairwells, the issues portrayed were not fictional to the experts. As a result, the film became mandatory viewing in some engineering programs. Its impact went beyond Hollywood, influencing both fire suppression technology and emergency evacuation planning. The movie's realism came from consulting with real fire marshals and first responders. Director John Guillermin insisted that even the most explosive scenes remain grounded in actual fire behavior. Some of the fire effects were so realistic, audience members thought parts were filmed during real drills. It marked a turning point in how building codes were enforced and updated. The towering structure may have been fictional, but its influence was very real. In many ways, the Towering Inferno helped prevent future disasters, simply by showing how easily they could happen. Fact 3.
Architects. Yeah, it's all our fault.
Steve McQueen was a massive star in the 70s, and he had the ego to match. When approached to star in the Towering Inferno, he agreed, but only under one peculiar condition. He wanted equal billing with Paul Newman, not just in contract, but visually. That meant when their names appeared on posters, trailers, or title cards, they had to share equal space. So how did the producers solve this? By placing McQueen's name on the left and Newman's name slightly higher on the right. That way, depending on which actor you favored, you could argue their placement was superior. It's called diagonal billing, and it became legendary. The rivalry between McQueen and Newman was the stuff of Hollywood myth. Both men were known for being fiercely competitive. McQueen also counted every single line in the script. He discovered Newman had 12 more, so he insisted on 12 additional lines being added to his own role. That's how seriously he took the competition. Despite all that, the two men reportedly got along well on set. But make no mistake, this was a battle of egos from start to finish. In the end, audiences loved both performances, and the billing compromise became an iconic example of Hollywood negotiation.
You know, we were lucky tonight.
Fact 4. No CGI, no green screens. just real flames and real heat. The towering Inferno was shot using practical fire effects that placed the cast and crew in genuine danger. Over 57 separate fire sets were built. Fire hoses blasted full-pressure water onto burning debris. The fire stunts were coordinated by legendary expert Paul Stater. Some scenes featured actors walking just inches away from active flames. Paul Newman insisted on doing most of his own stunts. He even suffered minor burns on set. The fire scenes required dozens of trained firefighters standing by. Several firemen from the Los Angeles Fire Department were hired as consultants. The production used a complex system of controlled gas and pyrotechnics. At one point, the fire got out of hand and damaged part of the Fox soundstage. Cameramen wore flame-retardant suits. The entire set was kept at scorching temperatures for realism. Steve McQueen also insisted on doing his own fireman scenes. The sense of danger translated to the screen. It wasn't acting, it was survival. The intensity helped make the film unforgettable, and the crew risked everything to make it happen. Fact 5.
And the winner is...
Harold F. Kress and Carl Kress for Towering Inferno.
Disaster films weren't usually Oscar contenders until The Towering Inferno. It broke that mold by earning 8 Academy Award nominations. It won 3, including Best Cinematography, Best Editing, and Best Original Song. Yes, even the music got recognition. The song, We May Never Love Like This Again, was performed live at the ceremony.
It's here to guide us.
Composer John Williams, who would later score Jaws, Star Wars, and Indiana Jones, created the film's powerful soundtrack. The visual effects were also praised but lost out to Earthquake, another disaster film from the same year. Fred Astaire, known for musicals, earned his only Oscar nomination for his dramatic role in this movie. That was a shock to many. The Academy acknowledged the film's technical brilliance. Its editing and effects set new standards. Cinematographer Fred Konekamp used complex lighting to capture fire and reflection realistically. Editors juggled over 70 hours of fire footage. The Academy rarely rewarded action-heavy films. But The Towering Inferno proved even disaster could be art. It raised the bar for what an action blockbuster could achieve, and it earned its place in Oscar history.
The winners are Fred Konekamp and Joe Byrock for The Towering Inferno.
Fact 6. The film's central character is really a building, the Glass Tower, a fictional 138-story skyscraper in San Francisco. But here's the twist. No such building existed, not even close. At the time, the tallest building in San Francisco was the Bank of America Center, which only had 52 floors. The filmmakers had to create the illusion of a skyscraper over twice that height. They used a combination of matte paintings, miniatures, and carefully framed shots. One of the most striking effects was a 70-foot model of the tower built on the Fox backlot. This detailed miniature was so convincing that audiences believed it was real. Forced perspective tricks made it look hundreds of stories tall. Helicopter shots were blended with matte backgrounds to show the full height. Matte artist Albert Whitlock was the genius behind many of these shots. He painted background cityscapes that blended seamlessly with live action. The result was groundbreaking for its time. The building's lobby scenes were filmed at the Hyatt Regency in San Francisco. That location had a futuristic interior, which helped sell the illusion. The outside plaza was also used for several sequences. The glass tower's elevator shaft was created using clever angles and lighting. Scenes at the top of the building were filmed inside a specially constructed rooftop set. Despite being entirely fictional, the glass tower felt real to viewers. Its visual presence was unforgettable. To this day, fans are often surprised to learn it never existed. It was all Hollywood magic, and it worked flawlessly. The combination of practical effects and smart production design made it iconic, and it still stands tall in movie history, even if only on celluloid. Fact 7.
Got change for a 50? I'm sorry, that's the smallest I have.
Fred Astaire, one of Hollywood's most iconic dancers, played a deeply emotional role in this film. It was a huge departure from his usual singing and dancing characters. Astaire played Harley Claiborne, a quiet con man with a heart. His performance earned him an Academy Award nomination, the only acting nomination of his career. What made it even more special was the personal connection Astaire brought to the role. He wanted to show audiences he could be more than a musical star. His character forms a touching relationship with an elderly woman, played by Jennifer Jones. That storyline brought unexpected depth to a film otherwise filled with action and disaster. Astaire was 75 years old at the time. He performed his scenes with dignity and subtlety. Behind the scenes, he was known for his professionalism. He arrived early, knew his lines, and never complained about long shooting days. The cast admired him deeply. Paul Newman said working with Astaire felt like sharing a frame with history. The film even gave Astaire one of the most poignant moments when he cradles Jennifer Jones's cat after her death. That small, quiet scene left a lasting impression on audiences. It reminded people that even in disaster, humanity survives. Astaire later said it was one of the roles he was proudest of, and critics praised his performance as soulful and restrained. For an actor famous for lighthearted musicals, this was a heavy, unforgettable moment. He proved he could carry gravitas without ever needing to dance, and it cemented his legacy as more than just a tap-dancing legend. Fact 8. Jennifer Jones, a 5-time Oscar nominee and 1-time winner, gave her final film performance in The Towering Inferno. She played Lacelette Muller, a quiet woman trying to save a child from the fire. Her death scene, falling from a collapsing scenic elevator, shocked audiences. The fall was brutal, sudden, and unexpected. What most viewers didn't realize was that this role would mark the end of Jones's film career. After the movie, she retired from acting entirely. Her decision came after years of personal tragedy and a desire to focus on mental health advocacy. On set, she was quiet and professional. Her scenes required emotional intensity and physical fear. The elevator collapse was achieved with stunt doubles and clever editing. Her character's death became one of the film's most heartbreaking moments. Audiences were stunned. Her performance showed both courage and vulnerability. She didn't play the glamorous type she once embodied in earlier films. Instead, she portrayed a real woman caught in an extraordinary situation. Jennifer Jones died in 2009, but this film remains a major part of her legacy. Many fans still associate her with that final, haunting image. Her graceful exit from Hollywood came with one last powerful performance. And what a way to say goodbye. It was both tragic and heroic, a fitting close to a legendary career. Jones didn't just act, she left a memory scorched into the screen. Fact 9. To make the film believable, the producers consulted with real firefighters. The Los Angeles Fire Department worked closely with the filmmakers from the beginning. They provided advice on terminology, tactics, and equipment. Many of the firefighting extras were actual firemen. Steve McQueen's character, Battalion Chief O'Halloran, was based on a real San Francisco fire chief. McQueen studied firefighting procedures in depth. He trained with real fire crews to get the movements and commands right. The gear shown in the film was authentic. The way the crew used hoses, axes, and ladders reflected real-world techniques. The control room and building systems were also modeled after real skyscraper safety systems. The movie highlighted real concerns about fire code violations and cut corners. In fact, after the film's release, several cities reevaluated their building fire safety standards. Fire departments used the movie as a reference in training. It became part of educational materials for high-rise emergencies. The producers wanted every scene to feel plausible. They even interviewed survivors of past high-rise fires. The film wasn't just drama, it was a simulated disaster rooted in truth. Many firefighters praised the film's accuracy, and McQueen's portrayal earned particular respect for its realism. The collaboration gave the movie its sense of urgency and believability. It was entertainment, but grounded in lived experience, and it helped Hollywood finally take safety storytelling seriously. Fact 10.
All right, hold it right there. Bring me in another 20 feet on that main line.
You read that right. The Towering Inferno inspired a theme park attraction. At Universal Studios Hollywood, parts of the film's set and fire effects were reused to create an immersive tour experience. Visitors rode a tram through a burning building. Suddenly, flames erupted around them, just like in the movie. Sprinklers activated, Walls collapsed, sirens blared. It was called the Burning Building attraction and became a highlight of the Universal Backlot Tour. The attraction ran for years and thrilled millions. It brought the film's tension to life in a family-friendly way. The ride used pressurized gas bursts and timed pyrotechnics. A control system allowed the fire to reset instantly after each tram passed through. For many park visitors, this was their first exposure to the legacy of the towering Inferno. The attraction later influenced other disaster-themed rides at the park. It proved that even dramatic films could translate into theme park thrills. Universal's decision to include it showed how iconic the movie had become. Though the ride eventually closed, it left a lasting impression. It turned a cinematic disaster into an unforgettable adventure. And it reminded audiences just how immersive a 1970s film could be. Props from the ride were later displayed at the Studio Museum. And for years, the flames of Inferno burned just beyond the studio gates,